envelope, and then I'll take care of it and call the patient and get the report done. Thinking it was only going to be a few reports a week, no. It turned into, like I said, a full-time job very quickly. When you roll out an emergency use product that you're going to mass release on the population, wouldn't you assure that you have safety mechanisms in place? The first thing you would do is assure that people were educated about side effects, what to report, who to report to, before you did that. That should have been the first thing. Educate your healthcare providers who are going to see these people in the hospital. Well, then how come we didn't get educated as healthcare providers? Well, I was told we're supposed to educate ourselves. It's not their responsibility.
Why are we not wanting to report this?
I don't know that it's a matter of not wanting to report it. I think the position the system has taken is that each provider has a responsibility to report on their own patients.
But if the providers aren't provided education on what we're supposed to be reporting and the importance of such, how do they know to do it?
But I believe the providers should educate themselves when they're dealing with patients related to COVID vaccination.
They don't even realize that these are specifically the conditions that we're supposed to be reporting to VAERS.
Yeah,
so and we've had a ton of them. I mean, we get thrombocytopenia, blood clots. Just Tuesday, I think it was, we shipped out, I think, 3 cardiomyopathies, blood clots. We got a guy on the floor, and well, he just died, I just pronounced him a second ago, who got his shot, and literally 2 weeks later, the guy ends up with cancer blown out of nowhere, a portal vein thrombus, like, just get strokes. I had a lady that had a stroke within 48 hours of her vaccine, fully on anticoagulation. I had a lady have a bilateral PE, and she was on Eliquis after her vaccination. I know these are things that are reportable.
That our hospital system talked to their risk management team, and I was no longer allowed to report on any other patient but patients of my own that I saw, where there was a warning that I was told I must support the vaccine effort and the approach to the vaccine. You know, during the pandemic, I received an excellence award for just my patient care and just how dedicated I am. And now I'm being looked at as a dangerous individual that's putting my patients in harm's way.
Come on, boys.
These patients deserve to be heard. These injured, I have to say potentially injured, because we don't know, right? But they deserve to have a voice. They're being shunned too. They're being told they're crazy, that they have anxiety, that it's not real. They don't have anybody fighting for them. There are injured patients out there. There are people whose lives are completely destroyed as a result of these vaccines. There are people who are now in the ground because of these vaccines. I have no doubt about it. And I'm speaking out because I want to be their voice. And I hope others come forward too, because I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone.
Well, I'm joined now by Deborah. First of all, I want to thank you for your courage. I know it's got to be really outside of your wheelhouse to come on to a news program and discuss, you know, what's been happening inside of your hospital. I think it's important. We are, you know, I want to tell you that there are nurses and doctors all over the nation that call us and give us reports exactly like this, but they're afraid to be in front of the camera because of what would happen. So I want to honor you for taking that risk, and thank you for being here today. All right.
Thank you.
All right. So to begin with, and I want to just sort of take us back through this a little bit. Prior to COVID and this pandemic, how would you have described yourself when it came to vaccination? Do you believe in vaccines? You know, where were you at with the concept of a vaccination?
Yeah. I believe in vaccines. I'm fully vaccinated myself for all the routine childhood vaccines, flu vaccine. My children are vaccinated. I really never questioned it up until now.
Okay. And at your hospital, one of the terms I've heard is a hospitalist, or, you know, you're also a physician's assistant, correct? Do you hold any sort of, are you involved in any groups or leadership roles at the hospital?
Very much. I'm actually the advanced practice provider director for my hospital. I'm the lead PA for our hospitalist service. Yes, I'm very involved in leadership roles in the hospital, and I am somebody that's very respected in the hospital by the physician.